All right. I wanted to do a video breaking down this video that I put on the Genesis Guild YouTube channel of a fight between Jamie's group and my group. Now, Jamie's group and my group get along, but we do PvP a lot. We both like to PvP, so it's, it's cordial, I think, for the most part, not a big deal. So the first part of this video, I want to add, I know I'm not the first one to come up with this idea. And, I don't come up with original ideas. All I do is steal ideas and then pretend like they're my own. So I know Grappler was doing this. I think it was a good idea. I'm trying to come up with a way to make content that's fairly easy for me, as at the same time as running a 300-person guild, which is a lot of work, especially a 300-person competitive guild. If we weren't trying to be competitive in those sort of things, then, I could probably crank out a lot more content. But one of the things I wanted to focus on was PvP, and the other thing I wanted to focus on was economy for my channel once we actually got into the game. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to try to get, back to at least a video a week if I can. Things have kind of settled enough in the guild to where hopefully I can do that. Now, at the start of this video, it's just kind of my second in command, Instanium, comes in and says, hey, you want to fight Jamie? They blew us up. They came in and rolled on one of our groups in the desert here while they're in a huge pool. So I waited for a bit, and they're not very far away. So I was like, yeah, let's go do it. We need some PvP. We haven't got enough PvP. We need more PvP. We need more practice at it. And also Jamie's the type of group that, if we PvP them, it doesn't become a fucking hurt feelings thing, which we run into so often. So I'm going to skip through most of this shit because it's just prep and setting up and get the raid set up and discussion of will we or won't we fight them, that sort of thing. We get it all in one group. Now, I don't know who had the number advantage. I think we probably do. It's very hard to tell, though. Somebody from my group said they had 18, and I'm like, I don't think they had 18. I don't think they had 18. I don't know. We had 15, and they probably had max of 12, would be my guess. So we did have the numbers advantage, and that's the thing. Every time somebody loses a PvP fight, it's always, well, you had more numbers, you had this, you had that. However, none of us are 25. We're all trying to level. I'm 22 at the time. My gear wasn't that great at the time. By the end of the weekend, I was 25, had pretty good gear. We sat in some really good grind spots all weekend for gear and got some gearing, and so the tables have turned in terms of that. But they had 2 or 3 people that were 25 and very well geared. Jamie is a 22 tank that's very well geared in Carfin gear. So that evens things out a fairly significant amount because gear matters just a ridiculous amount in this game. They have Nuclear Tango in here who was two-shotting some of our people. I think it's somewhat even. However, if I'm to give an edge to somebody just based on numbers, it probably would go to our side, And that's not something most people will say. Most people they're always going to deflect and go, the other side had the advantage. That's what people are always going to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call it like it is. I think we did have the advantage going into this fight. I'll just be clear on that. I do think we had the advantage. And so I'm just going to start playing this. I'm going to call out the things that they do well as best as I can. However, I don't have their perspective. I don't have their comms. I probably could go into Jamie's stream and find that section, but that would take a while because he streams all weekend long. Probably would take me a while to find that. I'm just going to do it from our perspective more so be critical of the stuff that I'm doing because there's a lot of things that I could have done way better as the primary shot caller and target caller. Now, there's a lot of issues with trying to target call and shot call in this game. The draw distance is stupidly short. Look, I can see all the people here, but their nameplate doesn't pop up yet, so it's how do you call a target yet?
All right, we're about 10 seconds.
The other thing I do is I keybind my raid marker to F2. I think it's F2, F3, F4. I've got different ones marked. I almost always just use F2 as primary target. That's the cross sword. So I marked Jamie. This is probably a mistake, but the reason I marked him, he's the only one in range that I can even mark. Jamie's doing a good thing being forward so that I would have to push past him to get other people marked. And then also that gets him in range of his grapple. And the grapple ability is the game changer ability in PvP in this game because you can pull somebody and isolate them and blow them up. And that is That's really why you should have, in the current state of the game, tanks really should be the primary target caller. However, I feel as though I am the best at target calling and shot calling in my guild, working on getting some other people trained up. So I was doing it. So as a mage, that puts me at risk because now I've got to get closer. I have to get closer, but mages are squishy as fuck. So that does make things difficult for me. That's Jamie. So now I do have like Lloyd I could pull as a target, but that's about it. That's about it. I can maybe click some of these other guys, possibly.
He is a tank, but
I'm on Zeal.
They got a trap down. They're set up. They knew we were coming. So it's not like it was a surprise thing. There was no pull. They were not in the middle of a pull. So that makes it somewhat even. So I think we switched the target to C-bit. Somebody did, which is good. That's probably what we should have stayed on. But then I noticed Annie's a 17 Ranger. Pick on the low-level people. Just do that. You just blow up the low-level people. You know, everybody thinks you always have to focus the cleric. The clerics are the best at staying alive. The mages and rangers have a couple escapes. That's it. If the cleric is not quick to switch to them and doesn't notice they're getting focused, they're easier kill targets in a lot of cases. I oftentimes don't focus the cleric unless it's a lower level cleric. I pick somebody else to focus because once they use their couple of escapes, then you can throw a CC on the cleric and then that guy dies once they've used their escapes.
Oh man.
Annie, so I switched to Annie, a little bit slow on the call there. But
Ranger.
I did switch to her.
Go ahead.
I'm getting focused hard. I am their primary target, most likely. Nobody else is taking any damage. Look at all the debuffs I have on me. I'm their primary focus target. I noticed it in time, even my old ass reaction time and everything. I'm in my mid 40s, guys. So like, yeah, my reaction times are not as fast as everybody else. I have to use my shield and I have to blink away. Now, using both defensives, now that puts me at risk. Next time I get in range, they could blow me up, and of course that is what happens eventually.
Right.
Now, using both defensives is not great but I had to in this situation because you'll notice they get through my entire bubble. If I didn't also blink away, I'd probably die here. So then they're asking me to call targets. I'm too far away. I had to blink away. This is the negative of trying to target call as a mage in this game. It's difficult.
I'm way in the back.
I think in general in most MMOs, ranged is the best target caller because you have better battlefield awareness, but not in this current game the way it currently stands with the draw distance being fucking 5 feet in front of your face.
I had to blink away. Annie's low.
So Annie almost dies here.
Okay, Annie.
But she doesn't die. I don't think we've gotten anybody down yet.
Annie.
Which is not great. I put damage into Jamie, and I use Frostbolt. Frostbolt really in PvP really shouldn't be used, but that's part of the problem when you're trying to run a group and target call in PvP is you're going to mess up your rotation some because you're not only trying to mess up do your rotation, you're also trying to pick targets up and stuff. So it's not going to be perfect. Nothing is ever perfect in PvP. Like all the PvPers are so egotistical, think they always play perfectly. Especially in open world PvP where things are just chaotic, and especially in this game with as chaotic as it is, you're not gonna play perfectly. So that was from my perspective not good at all in any way.
Z.
So then I see Z. Can we get on Z? Z's a level 20 cleric.
Z's the cleric. I got
marked. I get marked.
All right, yes.
And I call it, and people start to focus pretty good. Get on there. C's almost down. Z goes down. Now we've probably got the fight won at this point. We finally got a target down. I don't know how long we've been in this, but
Z's down.
We got a target down. We've pretty much have it won. This is another mistake I made. Kuririn's a 25 cleric. Now some of this is like a mistake in hindsight, right? Because I didn't know Kuririn was as geared as Kuririn is. Kuririn is not only 25, also very geared, right? So
Kuririn, the 25.
I noticed that Kuririn just doesn't take damage. Like we're trying to focus Kuririn. He doesn't take damage. I blink in, mistake. I've used my defensive. My bubble has got 12 seconds of cooldown left. I'm over here where Lloyd can just fucking go off on me. trying to put serious damage and pressure on Krurian, but it's just like
Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
nothing. We don't even get a
He's
bar
stuck to
off
me.
of there,
He's stuck to me.
and then I just die.
I'm back to y'all.
So
Oh, I
not
got
great
it.
on my part.
I'm down. I'm down.
Dripping.
This is a mistake on my part. Saying I'm down is in comms. You shouldn't do that, and I harp on our people not to say that, and then I do it. It's an easy mistake to make, and in the heat of battle, you know, you're gonna fall back on what you're used to doing and used to saying, and so that's kind of what happened there. I can get away with it because I'm the guild leader. Everybody knows my voice. I have a distinctive voice, but not everybody can do that, and I yell at people for doing that, like because that's bad comms. I don't know who that is, right?
Clearing. Got him.
Rezzing.
Then I get a res, and that's thank you.
Trying.
You know, calling out reses, calling out things like that, that is good. And doing it with like 2 or 3 words instead of like, oh, I'll res you or something like that. That's, I know it sounds basic, but when you're trying to have clear comms, everything's got to be short.
There's
Another mistake I'm making here, I'm down, but I could still be like calling targets. I've still got Krurian marked. I could have switched to Seabit. I could have switched to Annie or Lloyd or Lotus here in the back. And instead, I'm just like fucking depressed that I'm dead. I don't know what's going on. I'm not calling targets.
one in the back
Thank
line
you.
by himself. Fighter.
Frosty's on him. I'm trying
Somebody else is calling targets, but they're not marking, so the focus isn't as good.
to get out of this, and I'm gonna try to pull him.
They're not really using the name. Did he use the name?
Frosty's on him. I'm trying to get out of this.
One in the back
Thank
line
you.
by himself. Fighter.
Yeah, one in the back line by himself, fighter. Use their name. Even if you don't fucking say it very well, like use Seabit, Krurian, whatever the fuck. That's way
Frosty's
better,
on
right?
him. I'm trying
And then mark him if you can mark
to
him.
get out of this, and I'm gonna try to pull him. Nope, I got the wrong one. Kurt. It's a board. I think.
So he pulls the wrong one, and then
Pulling
did we get
Krurian.
Krurian down? And for some reason, I'm still focused on kill the cleric, because you know how people get tunnel vision on killing clerics. We all know this. If the cleric isn't dying, you've got to switch off the target. Then I notice, hey, let's switch to this guy. We got a 23 bar. That's 50%. That should be the focus.
Krurian.
Yeah, kill Kurt. The mark, the bard.
Okay. Fighter's down.
Bard's almost down. See,
It's way easier to say marked than say the fighter in the back. So that's why I love using the raid marks. It's
Seabit.
way easier to get people on the same target. Seabit's still not dying, you know. Seabit, we're not focusing very well at all, our fire. So even when I do get a good target call, you know, Annie took a ton of damage. Somebody was focusing Annie. Should have been focusing Seabit. Seabit would be dead. If that barrage went into Seabit instead of Annie, Seabit would be dead, and then we could switch to Annie. So we're not focusing very well. That's something we got to get better at. I notice Annie takes that massive amount of damage, right? So then I blink in. I think I blink in here again. I'm very reckless with my blinks, but
Annie's almost down in the back.
no, I didn't blink in.
Annie
I
the
just-
cleric or the
Trying to
ranger.
him.
She's down.
I got her. Yeah, look at me. I'm great.
She's down. She's down.
I killed a level 17.
Pulled Clearing away
And then they're wiped at that point.
from the group so he couldn't heal.
Krurian now back up.
They fought well. I think we did okay. I could have target called way better. But of course, when you're looking at things in slow motion, you can find a million things. You can find a million flaws. Overall, if you look at this real time, you can go watch the video. I'll link it. But, you know, I think I did a pretty good job. I think I'm a pretty good shot caller. I'm probably not the greatest in world history, but I've done a lot of shot calling in MMOs, a lot. So I feel like I'm fairly solid at it. Now, I might be a little out of practice because we haven't had good PvP MMOs in forever, right? So there's a lot of like getting back into it that I need to do. But now we've just got
Going
Jamie
Krurian.
and we got Krurian. Krurian obviously should be the next target. And we've got, 10 people. They got 2, so it's over. Kaos should always be the last one to die. He was the only tank. And then Krurian should always probably be the second last to die because he's an unkillable cleric, right? Unless you've got a way to do a full combo of CC on him. he shouldn't be your priority target. And I know some people are going to disagree with that, that some people think that clerics always should be the priority target. I disagree. I think your priority target should be killable targets, people that are easy to kill without having to execute in massive like stun and CC chains, right? Because then you've used all your CC. Now how are you going to kill the next person? Like you don't have CC for the next person now. Now, of course, if you could kill Quirion, that's huge because he's pumping massive. His HPS had to be off the charts. So that's important. That matters. But, yeah, I mean, good overall, good execution on our part. We probably had the advantage, to be fair. But I'm going to try to get more videos. I've been trying to record my gameplay as much as possible, and the first weekend we had some good PvP that I'd lost because OBS crashed on me, and I have been trying to stream some as well, and I will probably try to stream some this weekend as well. There wasn't a lot of PvP early on the server, but it's starting to heat up with PvP a lot, so there'll probably be more PvP videos coming on the Genesis Guild YouTube channel, and I'll hopefully be able to break down some of those as well. But I also want to break down videos from other guilds, and this is one from Divine Order that I thought was really good. That I'm going to break down in the next video, which might be next week. We'll see. But a very good video there. They did a great job in that video. That's really all I have. I'm going to try to do some of these at least once a week if I can. There's not as much PvP happening in this game because of how scuffed the PvP is. You get blight stacks in wars. It's just a mess. You get XP dead in wars. Like the wars never end. Like so. And then corruption is so ridiculously punishing that nobody PvPs. A lot of people aren't PvPing. So there's not a lot of good videos out there that we can break down. But I've seen a few, and I'll find them, and I'll find the videos and break them down. And I know it's somebody else's idea, but again, I'm not good at coming up with my own ideas. I just steal everybody's ideas. That's kind of how I do it, you know? So, all right, I'm going to upload this, and we'll see you in the next one.